The oldest pub in the United Kingdom is a disputed subject, with multiple pubs in the UK claiming the title, and they all have different forms of proof, and all of that proof is shaky at best. And although this video is going to focus on England, Scotland has two significant claims to the oldest pub. The claim for oldest registered and licensed pub in Scotland is called the Clachan Inn, which dates back to 1734, which it proudly displays on its walls. However, the oldest claim in Scotland is the Sheephead Inn, which reports that it can trace alcohol being sold there since 1360 and was visited by Mary, Queen of Scots. And again, they have this proudly displayed on their wall. Wales, on the other hand, has the Skirrid Inn, which claims to have references in history as early as 1110. However, archaeologists found the building is only from the mid-17th century, so whilst old, it's claimed to be the oldest pub in Wales and Britain as somewhat dubious at best. And this pub also displays the oldest inn sign. For the first time in history, however, the dispute in Northern Ireland is relatively simple, as the Grace Neil's pub is the oldest licensed pub on the entire island of Ireland, and it opened in 1611. And although not in the United Kingdom, the oldest pub in Ireland deserves a mention. Sean's Bar claims to date back to the year 900. During a renovation in 1970, the walls of the bar were found to be made of wattle and wickers, which dated back to the 10th century. Old coins were also discovered, which dated back to the 10th century. Sean's Bar is recognised as the oldest pub in Europe. Now, because Scotland, Wales, Northern Ireland and Ireland all had relatively simple answers, England, just like always, obviously doesn't. The claims in England are ridiculous, so ridiculous in fact that 3 pubs in the same city, Nottingham, claim to be the oldest. Starting with the Bell Inn, which has the date of 1437 printed onto its wall. Before this, however, in 1271, a priory used to be where this pub is. The earliest written record of the inn, however, is from 1638 in writing about the death of Robert Sherwin, who was a former sheriff of Nottingham. This is only the youngest of the claims, however. Next up is the Ye Old Salutation Inn, which dates back to 1240 AD. The building of the inn does actually date back to around the 1240s, when it was a workshop for a tanner. Salutation can be traced back in written borough records to 1440, where it was a private dwelling. And finally, to the oldest claim in the city, Ye Old Trip to Jerusalem Inn, which claims to have been established in 1189, which it proudly displays on its walls. These claims, however, are in my opinion the weakest of the 3 pubs, and although the pub has caves attached to it, which date back to 1068, and they were used as a brew house for the castle of Nottingham, the current building only dates back to 1650, and maps from 1610 show an entirely different building in its place. In 1751, however, there was a pub on the site called the Pilgrim. The earliest written usage of the name Ye Old Trip to Jerusalem Inn only dates back to 1799. The distance between the Bell Inn to Ye Old Salutation Inn is only 4 minutes, and from Salutation to Jerusalem it only takes another 6 minutes, meaning 3 pubs within a 10-minute walk all claim to be the oldest pub in England. If we count all of these pubs as having a perfectly legitimate claim, however, the pub journey in England still isn't over. The Royal Standard in Beaconsfield is listed in the Domesday Book, which dates back to 1086, and even earlier than that there's the Bingley Arms in Leeds, which claims to be able to date history back as early as 905. The Bingley Arms also claims to be Britain's oldest business. Side note, the Bingley Arms also has a yew tree within its beer garden that predates its claims entirely. Going even further back, and perhaps the one of, if not the most famous claim, Ye Old Fighting Cocks in St Albans claims to be first established in 793, and that it is Britain's oldest pub, and this claim is the only claim, as far as I know, in the Guinness Book of World Records. However, this pub only has records of selling alcohol going back to 1756, which isn't even as old as some of the other claims have proof of. Another side note is, in 2015, PETA, the animal rights organisation, tried to get the pub's name changed due to its relation to cockfighting, and PETA were told basically to hop it. The absolute oldest claim that I could find belongs to the old Ferryboat Inn in St Ives, which claims to date back to 560. The building, however, is actually much more modern and recent, and this claim isn't really highly regarded. So, to recap, here are the British and Irish Isles. The oldest pubs in Scotland are either the Clachan Inn, claimed to be from 1734, or the Sheephead Inn from 1360. The oldest pub in Wales is considered to be the Skirrid Inn, claimed to be from 1110. The oldest pub in Northern Ireland is the Grace Neil's from 1611. and the oldest pub in Ireland is Sean's Bar, claimed to be from 900 CE. And the oldest pub in England can either be the Bell Inn, the Old Salutation Inn, the Old Trip to Jerusalem, the Royal Standard, the Bingley Arms, the Old Fighting Cocks, or the Old Ferryboat Inn. This means that the oldest pub in England can either be from as late as 1437 or from as early as 560. And I guess it's just really hard to keep track of history when you're always ever so slightly drunk. Thanks for watching.